The rope creaked in the wind. Slow, wet, alive. Blood dripped onto the cobblestones below. Steady, rhythmic, unbearable. Each drop echoed to the Harlem alley like a countdown to something that could never be undone. Above the pooling red, a body swayed from a street lamp, turning slightly in the cold spring breeze. Jerome Johnson hung there. His hands were limp. His shoes were gone. His trumpet case lay shattered beneath him, split open like a chest, sheet music scattered across the stones and soaking in his blood. At the mouth of the alley, 6 figures in white hoods walked away. They did not run. They walked, slowly, like men who knew the city would protect them. From a 4th-floor window, Miss Claudia screamed, "Oh, God, somebody help him, please." No one came. The rope groaned again. That sound, the wood against fiber, the lamp against death, was the moment Harlem crossed a line it could never uncross. It was 11:45 p.m. on Saturday, March 15th, 1947, in Harlem, New York. The air was cold and smelled like rain, iron, and wet rope. Somewhere down the block, jazz had been playing at the Cotton Club. The music stopped the moment Jerome's neck snapped. By dawn, 6 men would learn that killing comes with a price. By the end of this story, Harlem would never forget the name Jerome Johnson. But right now, his body still hung there, turning, creaking, alone. Jerome Johnson was 22 years old. He was supposed to be walking home from rehearsal. Just another late night for a young musician trying to make something beautiful in a world that didn't want him to exist. He had no criminal record, no street affiliations, no enemies. He carried a trumpet and dreams. He was Bumpy Johnson's nephew, his sister's only son, and he had just been lynched. They ambushed him 2 blocks from home. An unmarked car slowed beside him. The door flew open. Hands grabbed his coat. His trumpet case hit the pavement and burst open, pages of music sliding into the rain. "Please," Jerome said. "I didn't do nothing." The first club hit his ribs. He folded, air exploding out of his lungs. Another blow smashed into his face. Then his back. Then his legs. Fists. Boots. Wood. Laughter. They dragged him into the alley between Lenox and 138, where the street lamp burned yellow and lonely. Jerome cried for his mother. Then, through blood and broken teeth, he cried, "Uncle Bumpy!" The city pretended not to hear. They threw the rope over the lamp while he was still conscious, forced a noose around his neck while he begged and promised and prayed. "Please," he whispered, "please don't." One of them leaned close enough for Jerome to smell tobacco and sweat. "This is what happens," the man said calmly, "when you forget your place." They hoisted him up together, all 6 pulling like it was work, like it was routine. Jerome kicked, scratched, choked. His shoes fell off and hit the stones. They watched until his body went still. Then they cut open his trumpet case and scattered his sheet music in the blood beneath his feet. The leader looked up at the surrounding windows and shouted, "This is a warning." Miss Claudia saw everything. She was 73 years old, a church woman, lived alone, knew every sound on that block. She watched the beating, heard every word, saw their faces before the hoods went on. Red hair, a scar on the cheek, clean hands that had no business holding a rope. One of them looked straight up at her window. Their eyes met. Miss Claudia ducked, heart slamming against her ribs. They knew she'd seen them. She knew they knew. Still, she memorized everything, because Jerome Johnson deserved that much. Her hand shook so badly, she almost dropped the phone. She dialed the one number she had memorized years ago. The number you called when the police wouldn't help, when the law looked away, when justice and legality were not the same thing. Ellsworth, her voice cracked. "They killed him." Silence on the other end. They hanged your boy, she said. He's still hanging there, like a warning. When Bumpy spoke, his voice was quiet, controlled, dangerous. Did you see their faces? Yes, she whispered. Before the hoods. I saw them all. Lock your door, he said. Stay inside. I'm coming. The line went dead. Bumpy Johnson stood still for 10 full seconds. His wife made me watch his face change. Not with anger, with something worse. Something empty. Who? She whispered. His mouth opened, closed. Finally, the words came out like broken glass. Jerome. They lynched Jerome. Mamie collapsed. The sound she made didn't belong to language. It belonged to grief. Bumpy caught her, held her while she beat his chest, and screamed his nephew's name like it might bring him back. He laid her gently on the couch, kissed her forehead. Then he reached for his coat. Rain soaked his hat as he walked toward the alley. People saw him coming and moved aside, not because of his reputation, because of his face. A small crowd had gathered. No one touched the body. No one cut him down. They parted for Bumpy without being asked. Jerome hung there, swaying, rope groaning. Trumpet pieces scattered like bones. Bumpy stared up at his nephew. For 5 seconds, the most feared man in Harlem was just an uncle looking at his sister's murdered child. Then he moved. He stepped forward, reached up, and supported Jerome's body with both hands. He pulled out his knife and cut the rope with one clean motion. Jerome fell into his arms. Bumpy lowered him like he was made of glass. He removed the noose, closed Jerome's eyes. Then he sat in the rain and held him. Someone stepped forward. Bumpy raised one hand. Don't. 5 minutes passed. The rain kept falling. The police arrived late. 2 patrol cars. Detective O'Sullivan and 4 officers. O'Sullivan looked at the body and didn't hesitate. Negro male, he said, already writing. Apparent suicide. Bumpy's head snapped up. Suicide. O'Sullivan shrugged. That's what it looks like. Bumpy stood slowly. The officer's hands drifted toward their guns. He beat himself, Bumpy said evenly, then hanged himself. That the story. Negroes get depressed, O'Sullivan replied. It happens. And Bumpy understood. This wasn't negligence. It was coordination. He looked at Jerome's bruises, the blood, the shattered trumpet, then at O'Sullivan. You're writing this as suicide. That's right, the detective said. Unless you got a problem. Long silence. No problem at all. Bumpy lifted Jerome's body and carried him toward the ambulance. Over his shoulder, he spoke softly. In 3 days, 6 men are going to confess to this murder. O'Sullivan laughed. Is that a threat? Bumpy didn't turn around. It's a promise. The morgue smelled like bleach and lies. Dr. Matthew showed Bumpy the truth. Broken ribs, fractured skull, defensive wounds. This boy fought, the doctor said. Hard. Make your report accurate. Bumpy said, I'll make them listen. Jerome's mother arrived and broke apart in Bumpy's arms. There's no justice for us, she sobbed. There will be, he said. I swear it on his body. By 3 a.m., the police report was filed. Suicide. Case closed. Captain Hendricks smiled behind his desk. $300 well spent. Bumpy made 5 calls from 5 payphones. Names, faces, cops, federal eyes. By dawn, he had Newark, a hardware store, Dutch Kramer, and a rope kept as a trophy. When Red finished speaking, the room went silent. Rage flashed across Bumpy's face. Then calculation replaced it. Good, he said. Pride makes men sloppy. He reached for his coat. We move tonight. Bumpy crossed into Newark alone. 9 p.m. Rain streaking the windshield. Streetlights blurring into long yellow scars. He did not bring muscle. He did not bring a gun. He brought certainty. Dutch Kramer was closing his hardware store when the bell rang. He turned. Bumpy Johnson stood in the doorway. The color drained from Kramer's face so fast it looked like someone had pulled a plug. "Don't run," Bumpy said quietly. "We need to talk." "This is my store," Kramer snapped, forcing toughness into his voice. "Get out." Bumpy stepped inside. The door shut behind him. The lock clicked. That sound stayed with Kramer for the rest of his life. Bumpy walked the aisle slowly. Nails, chains, tools meant to build things, tools meant to destroy them. He stopped at a display of rope, picked one up, let it slide through his fingers. "Just the kind you used on my nephew?" Kramer backed toward the counter. His hand drifted downward. "You pull that gun," Bumpy said without looking at him. "You better kill me, because if you don't, tonight will be the last night you ever sleep." Kramer froze. Bumpy laid photographs on the counter. Kramer's children in their yard, his wife at the grocery store, his mother walking into church. Kramer's knees buckled. "I know where everyone you love is," Bumpy said. "Every minute of every day." "You wouldn't." "I didn't lynch a kid," Bumpy replied. "You did." Kramer's voice cracked. "It was just a message." "I know," Bumpy said. "Now I'm sending one back." "I'm not going to kill you," Bumpy continued. "That would be mercy." Kramer's breathing turned shallow. "You have 72 hours. You and your 5 friends go to the FBI. Full confessions. Everything, including Captain Hendricks." "They'll protect us," Kramer whispered. Bumpy smiled once. "Cold. They already failed you. You can't prove anything." Kramer shouted. Bumpy stopped at the door. "I have an eyewitness," he said. "Miss Claudia, 4th floor. She saw your face. Before the hood." Kramer slid down against the counter, shaking. "You confess?" Bumpy finished. "Or I give her name to the world." Then Bumpy left. Within 30 minutes, Kramer called an emergency meeting. Midnight, the hardware store. 6 men arrived in separate cars, parking blocks away. Eddie Pope paced, sweating. Tommy Sutton laughed too loud. Patrick Donnelly stared at the floor. Kramer told him everything. "He walked in here," Kramer said, voice breaking, "like he owned the place." "He's bluffing," Tommy said. "Just fear tactics." "He had photos of my kids," Eddie whispered. "From today." Silence. Patrick spoke. "We murdered a kid." Tommy snapped. "Shut up." Kramer dialed Captain Hendricks on speaker. Hendricks answered, annoyed. "What?" "Bumpy Johnson threatened us. Wants us to confess." Hendricks laughed. "Ignore him. I've got officers watching you. Sit tight." "What about the witness?" Kramer asked. "Miss Claudia." A pause. "We'll handle her," Hendricks said. "You boys keep quiet." The line went dead. No one felt safer. As they left, Kramer noticed a rope display. Empty. Every coil gone. On the shelf sat a note. 70 hours left. BJ. Kramer dropped his keys. He knew then this wasn't a bluff. Day 1 began with terror. Eddie found a rope tied in a perfect noose around his tire valve. Tommy found black roses on his porch. The card read, "From Jerome. Raymond's dog vanished." A note said, "Don't worry. He's safe." Michael found photos under his door. His face. In the alley, before the hood. Patrick heard trumpet music outside his window all night. No source. No explanation. Just Jerome. They called each other nonstop. He's in my head, Eddie cried. The cops are watching, Kramer insisted. Then why is this still happening? Raymond screamed. The police saw nothing. Bumpy's people moved like ghosts. Miss Claudia shook in her apartment. I want to take it back, she whispered when Bumpy visited. I'm scared. So is he? Bumpy said, when they put that rope around his neck. She straightened. I'll testify, she said, for Jerome. That's all he needs. Jerome's wake filled the block. Hundreds came, then thousands. Each whispered the same thing to Bumpy. We're with you. A black journalist, Marcus Webb, noticed the lies, wrote the story the white papers wouldn't touch. Was Harlem murder called suicide? The city started asking questions. By night 2, Eddie cracked. Drunk, desperate, he drove to Harlem and screamed outside Bumpy's building. I'll tell you everything. Just make it stop. Bumpy listened as Eddie collapsed. You wanted to stop? Bumpy asked. Yes. Then go to the FBI. All 6 of you. The others won't. Make them. And if they refuse? Bumpy turned to the window. Then your wife and kids will know exactly who you are. Eddie left broken. 3 a.m. Another meeting. This time fists flew. Patrick punched Kramer. 3 wanted to confess. 3 refused. The group shattered. Hendricks tried to buy Bumpy's silence. Freedom in Harlem. Bumpy said no. Hendricks threatened arrest. Bumpy dared him to try. Day 3 arrived. Webb published names. Kramer's store was boycotted overnight. At 11 p.m., Patrick called. We're coming in. Kramer? He won't. Then bring 5. Bumpy said, I'll handle Kramer. He reached for his coat. Tonight. Midnight rain washed Newark clean as Bumpy Johnson drove alone. No convoy, no backup, no weapons beyond memory and resolve. Dutch Kramer's house glowed with light when Bumpy pulled up, curtains half drawn. A man awake too long, waiting for the thing he knew was coming. Bumpy climbed the steps and knocked. Firm, even, final. The door opened. Kramer stood there with a revolver in his shaking hand. Get off my property. Bumpy didn't flinch. Didn't even look at the gun. You gonna shoot me on your own doorstep? He asked calmly. With your wife and kids inside. The barrel dipped. Your friends are confessing in 9 hours, Bumpy said. You're the only one still pretending this ends another way. I don't care what they do. Kramer snapped. I'm not confessing. Bumpy stepped closer. You hanged my nephew from a street lamp, he said. Left him swinging. Made his mother identify his broken body. He was just what? Bumpy cut in, eyes turning ice cold. Just a message? Then look at the message you sent. He pulled a photograph from his coat. Jerome's autopsy. Kramer recoiled, tried to turn away. No, Bumpy said, stepping closer. You wanted people to see. Look. More photos followed. Broken ribs, rope burns, defensive wounds. This is what you celebrated, Bumpy said. What you brag about. The gun fell from Kramer's hand and clattered across the porch. He sank to his knees, sobbing. What do you want from me? The truth, Bumpy said, in front of God and the law. If I confess, I go to prison for life. If you don't, Bumpy replied softly, you'll go to hell every night you sleep. He turned to leave, then paused. 9:15, Federal Building. If you're not there, this gets worse. Bumpy walked away. Kramer stayed on his knees. 9 a.m., the Federal Building in Manhattan looked like Judgment Day. Cameras, reporters, crowds packed shoulder to shoulder. Bumpy arrived with Reverend Powell, NAACP lawyers, and Miss Claudia. She was shaking, but she stood tall. At 9:10, 5 men arrived together. Eddie, Patrick, Raymond, Tommy, Michael, broken, silent. At 9:15, another car pulled up. Dutch Kramer stepped out alone. He joined the others without a word. They walked inside together. The conference room was cold and white. The recorder clicked on. State your names. They did. You are here to give statements regarding the death of Jerome Johnson. You understand you are under oath? Yes. Begin. And they told everything. The planning. 2 weeks of hate. Captain Hendricks providing Jerome's schedule. The ambush. The beating. The rope. Jerome calling for his mother. Jerome calling for his uncle. The room went silent more than once as grown men broke down describing how they watched a young musician die. Then came the cover-up. Payments. Phone calls. Orders. Make it suicide. That was when the door opened. Federal agents entered with Captain William Hendricks in handcuffs. He shouted, denied, threatened. The prosecutor cut him off. We have recordings. Hendricks saw Bumpy in the hallway as they dragged him out. You did this, he screamed. Bumpy's voice didn't rise. I didn't lynch a kid. You did. Miss Claudia testified. She identified every man. Her voice never wavered. Dr. Matthews presented the autopsy. Murder, not suicide. Marcus Webb laid out the cover-up. Wiretap sealed it. By 5 p.m., charges were filed. 6 men. First-degree murder. Civil rights violations. Hendricks. Conspiracy. Corruption. Obstruction. The city exploded. Headlines screamed what silence had buried. 3 days later, Jerome was buried. Thousands came. Bumpy carried the casket. Jerome's trumpet rested inside. The headstone spoke truth. After the crowd left, Bumpy stood alone. Justice would be him alive, he said quietly. This is accountability. He touched the stone once, then walked away. 6 months later, the killers pleaded guilty. Life sentences. No parole. The judge's words echoed. You committed terrorism. They were led away in chains. Their names became shame. Hendricks fought and lost. 30 years. No mercy. He died forgotten. Jerome's name lived. Laws changed. Cases reopened. A scholarship created. Music played in his honor. Years later, in a small Harlem jazz club, a young trumpeter stepped forward. This is for Jerome. The music rose. Beautiful. Broken. Hopeful. In the back, Bumpy wept openly. Jerome's mother held his hand. When the song ended, the room spoke one name together. Jerome Johnson. This is what happens when one death refuses to be forgotten, when silence is denied, when truth is demanded. Subscribe not for content. Subscribe to remember. And comment with a name that must not be erased. Because history only survives when we carry it forward.